Hi everyone. So I haven't made a video in a while, and the reason I haven't made a house critique video in a while is because we've just essentially been living in this house. So we're now moving. We're moving to the United States. And in this video, I'm going to show you around the house that we've been living in. I'm going to critique the house a bit. And then at the end, I'm going to, well, during the house critique, I'm also going to kind of tell you a little bit about what's happened to me while I've been living here. Had a few interesting experiences myself. And then at the end, I'll give you a quick overview of what's been going on with Auravana. So first thing is the house critique. Beautiful view here. We've had a beautiful view. And so this is outside. The front deck, the porch is actually very long, and we quite like this. So every morning we can come out here and we can do yoga. Down there is a pool. And the orientation of the sun, if I can kind of like put this in the back, the sun's setting right now. But the sun essentially goes like this. So we have sun all day long. And I've been working at that table right there, and I'll show you inside later, but I've been working at that table. So I've had the most sun I think I've ever had this life, the past few years, simply because I can literally walk outside and for the whole day we have sun. During the summer here, it does get kind of hot. There's no air conditioning in the house. So the house does heat up with the sun like that, but, you know, a fan's fine. And the inside of the house is kept cool with the fan. And I would prefer to have the sun and be able to get sun, just kind of walk a few feet and have sun every day while I'm working. So that's been great. So here we have we have storage here and we have storage here. We have a pizza oven right here. And we have a Brazilian type barbecue. So we don't use this barbecue very often because I don't do well around smoke, and there's no extractor fan. There really needed to be an extractor fan on this oven. So the smoke, some of it comes up here, but a lot of it comes into this area right here and just kind of fills up this deck area. So unfortunately, we haven't been using that. Instead, we bought a separate barbecue, which is now in storage, and I'll show you why we've been using the separate barbecue in a second and why extractor fans are so important these days. So nice barbecue right here. You can see inside, not very deep, but several layers, so we put charcoal in there. It's always great to have a sink near the barbecue, not only for cleaning the barbecue equipment, but also for cleaning things that you don't want to get your kitchen sink dirty. And when we had the actual freestanding barbecue, which we don't have right now, it's in storage, we were able to clean all of the parts of the freestanding barbecue in this kitchen. So it's really nice having in this sink. So it's really nice having a sink next to the barbecue. I could have made the sink a little bit bigger. Utility sinks are typically larger than this. This is a smaller utility sink. Luckily, it does have hot water, so we have hot and cold water here. A lot of the houses, as you know, here in Brazil do not have hot and cold water. I'm just going to show you a little bit of the roof here so you can see how the roof is done. There are tiles on top, and then we have the beams, and the beams are actually locked in. Right, I don't know if you can see right there. So you can see the screw locking in the beams, which locks in the top of the roof. As I go around the inside, I'll show you, the insides are dropped ceilings. It's nice like this. And two lights outside, another light here, some electrical outlets outside, which is nice. A little place underneath to store the firewood. And of course, this allows for more airflow into the barbecue. So again, we didn't use it very much because no extractor fan. Really need an extractor fan. Now this wouldn't be up to code in many places. This has been kind of dangerous, and you know, with little kids, you don't want this. There's no rail here, so you could very easily just walk off the edge. Not up to code, but here in Brazil, not a lot of things. They either don't have code or they don't build them to code. We really like this railing right here. We really like the glass, being able to see through the glass. Haven't had any bird strikes with the glass, so not a big deal. Everything here is kind of cheap, though. The materials are kind of cheap. As you can see, the foot right there, there's a foot right there, but the foot right here has been broken off. So, not broken off, I mean, it's just these feet are plastic. So they're all biodegrading in the sun and breaking down. The other one just literally fell apart. Nice railing. The one thing about the railing is this railing needs to be kept up. The glass was actually falling out over there, and so we had to have someone come and re-screw it. And the sealer down here degrades in the sun. It would be nice to have this without requiring this black sealer here. So the black sealer is also degrading in the sun. And that's kind of what was happening over there. The black sealer had degraded, and then the glass began falling out, which is kind of dangerous because it could fall out on someone down below, which was a distinct possibility with the way it was falling out. So you can see the railing goes all the way around. And again, we really like the glass railing, beautiful. So there's a light here at the foot of the stairs. The light's actually falling apart as well. A lot of the materials here are very cheap. It's nice having this red light here. You just always have to be careful when you have lights at the edge of stairs, because if you're taking a ladder, you'll break the light in 2 seconds. We had a red light here. You have to be very careful with the CFL, compact fluorescent ones, the ones with those spiral shape. They have vaporized mercury in them. So the most dangerous thing would be to hit this, break it right above you, and have you accidentally inhale some of the vaporized mercury. So you always have to be careful with those. I recommend never having those CFL light bulbs in your house. In fact, nowadays, I think they put plastic covers around the CFLs. Although here you don't often see those plastic covers around the CFLs where they use them. But you need to be very careful with them because they do contain vaporized mercury. That's what the electricity runs through in order to create the illuminescence. So I recommend never having them in your house. I don't even recommend using them because of how dangerous they can be if you break them and accidentally inhale anything. So I'll take you downstairs. Here are the stairs. And so we have a nice pool here and a nice deck. We've quite enjoyed that. Now the walls, I don't know why they have this detail on the walls. This has been kind of annoying. So here, if I pull back, you can see the detail there on this wall. And there's also detail on right there. So I don't like that. That gets really dirty. This has recently been painted, which is why it doesn't look so dirty. But this sort of detail is just totally unnecessary, and it breaks. It breaks off, and then this gets really dirty. Sometimes you get insects in here. It would just be nice if it was kind of like a flat wall without this detail. And same here, as you can see inside, the detail breaks, and then insects get in here, or it gets dirty. It's just that there's no need to have this. It would be much more efficient just to have a flat surface here. So we have a bathroom here and a sauna. Always need a bathroom, typically, near a sauna. But we don't really use this bathroom. And this house has one serious problem. One of the reasons we didn't end up buying the house, we were thinking about buying it. The individual who was selling it wanted too much money, and it would have been too much work. As I take you around, you'll see that there are a lot of things that need repair, a lot of things sort of falling apart, mostly because the materials are cheap. So here we have, and everything's done kind of cheaply. It's an older house, and before he has tenants come in and rent it, just kind of does a little patchwork here and there. But it really would have needed a lot of work in order to bring it up to the standard of a new house, or the standard that we would expect if we were going to actually own and live in a house, so that it maintained its value over time. So here we have the bathroom. This bathroom has mold in it, like the house has a mold problem. So you can see there's mold all over here, all over there. And what they just do is they just paint it over, which of course doesn't get rid of the mold problem and just makes it worse. And then the mold begins coming through, and then you have to paint it again. And here you can see the bubbling. You can see that bubbling, and that's water damage and also probably mold inside. So not great seeing this. So nobody's used this shower. Never use this shower. It's an electric shower. You can tell right there that it's an electric shower. And toilet here, sink here, and the drain for the sink is here. Sometimes I have to jiggle it because people do actually use the bathroom to go to the bathroom when they're at the pool or when we're having a party. And this goes into the, you kind of see I made a little bit of a P shape here, but not much of a P. And then it just goes into the wall. And a lot of people use these here, but that doesn't work. I think the water's off for that. So here is the the circuit breaker for the sauna, and then the interface for turning the sauna, which is right next door, on and off. And what they did with the sauna is, so this is the sauna. So we use the sauna quite regularly, almost every night, and typically I prefer dry saunas. This is a wet sauna. We're on a well system, so we pay for electricity and we pay for internet, but we don't pay for water. And we've also never had the water tested, so we don't drink the water. If we had a ceramic filter with a carbon insert that wasn't, you didn't shake, it wasn't carbon beads, which was actually, but instead was a carbon block, then I think we would be able to drink the, or we would be able to drink the water, because those ceramic filters with the inserted carbon filter out like 99.99% of everything. But without actually testing the water, we haven't been drinking it, but we have been inhaling it. So I'm kind of hoping that that there hasn't been anything toxic in the water, even though we've never had it tested. So anyway, it's a wet sauna, and it was nice to have this red light. We have red lights on at night, so a red light here. The one silly thing they did about this sauna is this roof. It's just like pasteboard. You know, this isn't a proper sauna roof, so you can see it's cracking. Can you see that? It's cracking there, cracking all along here, and every so often it's painted. Another silly thing is that this was designed for a sauna, and we paid for a sauna for the house. The sauna was put in after we moved in, and they literally did things like this. The temperature sensor was just inserted like that, and there's no caulking around the temperature sensor. Don't do this. Always put caulking around the temperature sensor so that water then doesn't get in, moisture then doesn't get into the wall and create more problems. We don't know what is above here. We weren't going to replace that, but there's a potential for water getting up there and then creating more mold. You can kind of see that things have been done, you know, not with a lot of care. This is the sauna pipe that comes out that blows the steam, and look at that. And then there was supposed to be a shower here. I put electrical tape over here so that the humid air wasn't actually, as far as I could tell, getting up into there. I'm sure it was with the cracks, but it's just less humid air getting up there. And so this would have been for the shower, but we don't want to use this. I don't even know if water can come out of there, because it would just go into there. I'll show you the sauna machine in a second. So the nice wet sauna, used it quite regularly, gets up to temperature pretty well. This is the pool. The pool doesn't filter so well. So the entire time we've kind of had a few insects. I mean, we put chlorine tablets in the pool, cleaned the pool, but you know, not the best situation, but I swam in it every day when it's cold. When it's warmer out, I don't really swim in it, but I love the cold. So here we had a little bit of a garden. We don't eat much of the food from the garden because you never know, unless you've lived in a house, what is in the soil. When constructors are constructing things, especially in like all over the world, when they're done with a lot of their materials, if they don't expect to keep them, they just dump them in the soil. So you don't know what toxins could be in the soil. And we don't know what was here before the house was built or where this soil came from. Just always be careful when you're growing food in soil that you don't know where the soil is from, because it could have high cadmium, it could have high lead, and depending upon the biouptake of the plants, you know, you could be consuming plants that are quite toxic for your health. So we always need to be careful with that. And we don't know what was here in this house before. We don't know where the soil. In fact, when we were buying soil from the people here in order to kind of give it a little bit of topsoil, sometimes it had plastic bits in it. There was a couple of years ago here where we are, there was a terrible flood, a lot of rain, a lot of flooding, and a lot of people died. And they carted off a lot of the soil. And sometimes we'd find bits of electrical wiring in the soil. So, you know, I don't know where the soil comes from. They just sell the soil in bags, and there's not much of an inspection. You can't really trust a lot around here. So you do have to be careful with that. Just be careful with what you grow your plants in. Again, the material that they used, like this is falling apart. So the paint's kind of falling apart. This right here, this is some cheap quality concrete. these lights, this one's lasted, but the one over there, you can see the inside. I don't know if you can see the top of the light is actually breaking apart. Here, I don't know what they did, because I assume that I assume that every time someone moves in, they just kind of like add a little bit of cement and just kind of like cover over the rust. But you can see these stairs are rusting. So my presumption is that they've been cracking, and then they just add a little bit more cement and paint. It looks fine from the outside, but they're still rusting, so they're still falling apart, and then the cement will just come off. You can get like an anti-corrosion sort of material to kind of put on this to reduce the corrosion, but in many respects, something like this should just be redone for safety reasons and to preserve the longevity of it. I mean, yeah, sure, if you're renting it, you can kind of just cover it over to make it look, you know, nice, but then you're going to have more problems like that. Again, it's missing a whole lot. Light down there, never a light down there. We had lights in the garden, so we had one light there underneath the stairs, and we had 2 lights there, and we have red lights on at night. Blue lights, you know, disrupt melatonin, can also disrupt the wildlife, so we don't want to do that. Anyway, so the gate, again, cheap materials. You can see that the screws rusted there. The bolt down there is completely rusted. These bolts right here were not put in deep enough. When you put bolts into the wall, they need to be, you know, they need to be longer. If they're not long, especially with doors, a lot of the doors that constructors put in, they put in these short bolts, and then the door begins tilting, and the short bolts are cheaper. You know, they should, if you move into a house, pull out the screws in the door hinge and see how long they are, and then just replace them with longer ones. And then you won't have that tilting and then that constant need to screw them tighter. And this is kind of difficult to screw tighter. Anyway, that's exactly what's been happening with this gate, as happens with many doors. The bolts aren't long enough. And so the gate, you know, begins leaning, and then it's extraordinarily difficult to close the gate. So under here, we have the electrics for the sauna, and we have the filter for the pump and filter for the pool. The filter works okay, not great. The electrics were actually done wrong, so I didn't do the electrics. We had someone else come over and do the electrics, and so every so often the sauna shuts off, and you have to go switch the switch here, switch the circuit breaker, because the circuit breaker trips. You have to re-switch the circuit breaker. We haven't had anyone fix that. Again, sometimes electrician doesn't know what they're doing. Here's as you'll see, the individual who installed the sauna didn't fully, you know, install the sauna. This sauna is actually, you're not typically supposed to have like bends in the sauna. I mean, you can't, the sauna steam output, you can, but it's typically, they're supposed to be installed horizontally, not with bends like this. But maybe this one is, I don't know, that's my understanding. I could be wrong on that, don't quote me on this. But typically they're supposed to be installed horizontally, at least the ones that I've seen in the past. So anyway, this one bends and then goes up. And here you're supposed to let out the excess water every so often. Of course, they didn't put any pipe to let out the excess water, and there's literally no opening here. And you can see how they stuck it into the back, and now grass is growing. So every so often we had a little pipe, and we put the pipe here, and we opened this port right here in order to let out the water, which you're supposed to do occasionally. Also, the individual who installed this broke this bit right here, broke this register, and so you can't turn off the water because he broke it, and then just kind of stuck the plastic knob back on. So that's not so great. The driveway, nice driveway, but not great in some ways. So you can see the driveway is just a bunch of bricks. Now, in between the bricks, we have a lot of grass growing. There are several ways to deal with this. The first year, we dealt with it in a way, there's no good way to deal with this, essentially. The first way, we dealt with it with a pressure washer, and that used a lot of electricity during this entire driveway, pressure washing all of these plants up. And so that cost us quite a bit of money in our electrical bill. And not only that, you don't want to do that because what happens is you get the material between the bricks. That material comes up, and then the bricks start moving, so they're no longer even. So the more you do that, the quicker you will have to replace the entire driveway, or all the bricks will become scootily wampus and uneven, and you're just going to have to live with that. So that's the first year we did this. The second year I couldn't bring myself to do it. Somebody else did it for us while we weren't here on vacation, but we sprayed glyphosate all over the driveway. Not all over the driveway. We didn't use a lot. We actually didn't buy a lot, but you know, the second year, you know, we used glyphosate. I feel really bad about that. I don't like doing that. I find that, so we only used it once. So 1 year we used pressure washer, and the second year we used glyphosate on the driveway. And I don't ever want to do that again. I don't like using that substance. But it kept it good up until now, when it's begun raining a lot again. So it kept it good for quite a period of time. So no good way to deal with this. Oh, and then you could use like a grass cutter with those plastic blades. But again, the blades are plastic, and you're having to be close to the ground, and so you're not getting the roots of the plants up. Plus, you're spraying microplastics everywhere. So, you know, that's not going to be great. Spraying microplastics from the blades of the grass cutting machine, and you're going to have to do that regularly because you're not getting the roots and you're cutting the grass, so the grass is going to grow quicker. So kind of here, we never use this. This is a storage area, and found some big spider carcasses in here in the past. And it also has black mold, so I'm not going to go in there. It's had black mold since we got here, and I don't like black mold. I don't think anybody likes black mold. You don't want black mold around you. One of my parents had a home in Florida for a while. And the lady who came in and cleaned, she often had to deal with black mold. She eventually began getting seizures not from our place, we didn't have black mold in it, but she was cleaning several houses that had black mold. She was inhaling a lot of the black mold, and she eventually began having seizures because of the black mold that she was inhaling. So it can be very dangerous. So you can see, nice driveway, nice opening here for us to turn our car around. This is new right here. This was put in, this was not an extension, but this was a roof added onto the house later. Great to protect the car, but it reduced the light in these two rooms. And I'm going to show you these two rooms. It reduced a lot of the illumination in these two rooms. So it would have been better, and when I get to them, I'll show you, it would have been better to have windows on all sides so that when this was put in, or to then open up the window in this room. So you just have to be aware, you know, you put a covering over like that, you reduce the light, and then the people in those rooms get a lot less light, and it's darker, and then have to use the lights more. So right here, this is a retention wall. Can I extend? It's quite a high retention wall. Up there on that side is where the water boxes are. So there's a big water box there. One or two? Two big water boxes. So we've always had enough water. We're on a well system with two big water boxes, clean water boxes. This retention wall is just packed earth. We had somebody, as we were planning on buying the house, come and give us some more information about this. So it's a retention wall with a concrete facade, and a very cheap concrete facade. This is not an expensive concrete facade. You could see it's breaking. It's cracking everywhere. Cracking here, and you can see where they repaired it over. You probably can't see. Yeah, you can see where they repaired it previously. Right there. Yeah, right there. So they repaired it previously, and it's just packed earth with cheap quality cement or surfacing. Same as here. So this actually does have rebar in it. This is reinforced as it would need to be, but this is all falling apart and everything's rusting. When we had the person come and check out all of this, for this, everything's fine. We just would have had to kind of resurface this and add a little bit more concrete to these both areas. Not a big deal. So this is the car we've been driving. Not much to show you here. This is the roof. Never been up onto the roof. Don't have a ladder. Don't know if there's mold up there or what the problem is, but that room right there has a lot of mold. You can see how dark it is here with this cover. It's also, the sun is also setting. Oh, kind of wrap up the outside and get inside. I used to have the ice bath here, so it was very difficult finding a bathtub here. Most people do not have bathtubs. It took forever to find a bathtub. The bathtubs that we could buy easily were like super expensive, anywhere from like $1,500 to $500 for a bathtub. We eventually found a bathtub for a couple $100. Didn't look as nice, and it took us a long time to find the bathtub. Anyway, I had ice baths here. I had a freezer inside where I make the ice. One of my interesting experiences is that I ended up in the hospital here after an ice bath. I've been doing ice baths for about, 12 years. And when I first started, I was in there for 15, 20 minutes. I've since cut it down to 8 minutes, typically. This time I was in the bath for, probably 12 or more minutes. And I had a cramp that appeared right here, and then it gripped my heart and repolarized my heart. And so I was in the hospital for 2 days. Never had that happen before, and then I found out I have a genetic condition with my heart. I have a mitral valve prolapse. And in fact, when I was in the ice bath, you really have to be careful with ice baths. You hear people talk about some of the dangers of ice baths, but, I've been doing it for so long, it was very cold. Typically my ice baths are cold. And so I have mitral valve prolapse, meaning my mitral valve, the valve of the mitral valve, mitral valve, the valve is like flappy. It's like loose. It prolapses, meaning it extends either way too far. And so I was feeling my heart fluttering while I was in the ice. And then I had that cramp. I don't know if it was just a cramp. I've never experienced cramps in ice baths before. Luckily, I had hot water close by, because if I didn't have hot water, I don't think I'd still be here, because the cramp gripped my heart, and then my entire left side of my body went numb. It started in my arm, and everything went numb. And luckily, I was able to expose myself to heat and warm myself up pretty quickly. And then we went to the hospital after a bit, and my heart had an irregular heartbeat, and it had a repolarization of the heart, meaning the electrical beat came from, instead of coming from the top down, it came from the top, it kept coming from the top downward, came from the bottom up. Anyway, wasn't a great thing. Still doing ice baths because I like ice baths, so I'm still doing 8 minutes of cold in the bath, but I no longer go up to here, and I have a hot pack over my chest now. So I kind of go up to here, and then I'll dip my head in after. I'll take the warm pack, the hot pack off of my chest, and I'll put my face in and rub some of the ice around my face. So I'm not going to stop doing ice baths because of the benefits, and I love ice baths, but I am going to be more careful in the future because that can be very dangerous. And if I hadn't had hot water close by or something to warm me up, it could have been worse. Anyway, so we have a gas system here. Here in Brazil, this is where typically the architectural structure that they store gas in. And we have 2 large gas tanks here. The house came with these gas tanks. You buy the gas tank with gas in it, and then, it's actually on right now. You buy the gas tank with gas in it, and you just replace the gas going forward. And they actually take away the tank and give you a new tank, but you don't have to buy the tank each time. So we are on a hot water system. It's a gas-heated electrical hot water system. So it heats, there's a pilot light in there, and the pilot light is fed by gas, and then that warms the water. And so this is the exhaust for the system, and it's a pretty good gas system. We haven't had any problems with it, but you can see the way the electrics are done, not great. So things kind of like that. And this is where all the electrics come together, and after rain once, water had been getting in there. I would imagine water gets in there all the time. Anyway, water got in there and fried some of the wiring that was in there. The wiring had touched, and our circuits went out. So we had I think Elizabeth is taking a shower, doing something with the hot water. So that's another thing that leaks. So you can smell the gas when you're near there. Not all the taps, everything, and the sealants aren't tight. So every time you turn on the hot water, there is a little bit of gas that leaks out. And that right there is a bathroom. Sometimes we get gas going in the bathroom, depending upon the air flow through this area. So not great. This isn't stuff we really did. We knew we weren't going to live here for this long. So if we had bought this place, we definitely would have redone this entire area, made sure all the taps were sealed correctly so there wasn't gas leaking every time we turned it on. So we had a washer here, and that's where the washer went. We had no dryer, so we typically dried everything out there. Clothes are clothes, and if you wash at a time when it's raining and you don't dry your clothes get mildewy. And so sometimes our clothes got mildewy, and so some of my clothes I had to throw away because they just began smelling too bad. So where's the light? Is there a light here? So this is the light's not working. Oh, there we go. So this is where we had the washer, and this is the outport from the. We just stuck the hose from the outport. I'm losing my words here. The outport of the washing machine went into here. The drain. Thank you. The drain. So this is the drain for the drain hose, and this is the water input for the washing machine, and then this is the register. Everything's close to one another here, really great. So we can easily turn off the water to the washing machine if there was any leak. No leak. They did put nice tape around this, so we never had any leak. And I think everything, it's a 20 amp circuit here. Anyway, here's another sink. I kind of wish this utility sink was bigger. So they often use small utility sinks. It's nice because it gives us a little more space here, but I would have kind of preferred a larger utility sink. And here's the circuit breaker for this area. As you can see, the circuit breaker here, nice, easy to access. I know recently they've been putting circuit breakers behind paintings and or other things, and that's great unless you're living in a house or you're renting a place and you can't find the circuit breaker. So nice to have a circuit breaker visible, but also not visible. Easy access there. Here's the kitchen. It's getting dark outside. We're just about to leave the house. Tomorrow's our last day, so this is my last video. I really do not like this tile on the wall. Don't like that at all. So this has been the kitchen we've been living in, and we had the refrigerator here, and we had the freezer here, right here. So we did have a refrigerator and freezer, and then we had an additional freezer where we kept more meat, and I also made ice water for the ice bath. And so this is the kitchen area. Now we don't wear shoes in our house. I guess, neither of us do, and I don't typically like wearing shoes in homes. In Asia, it's really considered disrespectful, and also it doesn't, you're not connecting with the ground. If you are on tile like this, you might even be grounded if there's just soil underneath. So you're disconnecting yourself from the potential benefits of being grounded, and you're also not moving your foot as you should move your feet, and so you are more likely to end up with foot problems if you don't go barefoot in your house. So we go barefoot in our house, and so this right here is great size for being barefoot, but not great size for wearing shoes in the house. Not a problem for us, but typically the space here would be just a little bit more. I'll talk a bit about the robot vacuum cleaner that we bought in a little bit. So the robot vacuum cleaner has been amazing, fantastic. We didn't have a very good vacuum. Vacuums here in Brazil are very expensive. We had a relatively inexpensive vacuum, and to vacuum this entire house was just and the cable was short, so then you had to get an extension cable and then wrap up. Anyway, the robot vacuum cleaner we have has just been a lifesaver. And so I think they're going to be designing houses, or we should now be designing houses moving forward with these robot vacuum cleaners in mind. And the robot vacuum cleaner does have a bit of an elevation. And so I think going forward, we need more space underneath the cabinetry right here in order for people who do wear shoes in their house, even though I think it's always best not to. You're also tracking dirt and chemicals and bacteria in from viruses, whatever in from outside the house, inside the house. When you wear shoes, I'm actually wearing shoes right now, but we're leaving tomorrow. And also it'll allow for robot vacuum cleaners, which if you experience it, you will never go back to easily and efficiently clean underneath the cabinetry. So right here we have a sink. Again, this sink is a bit small. It overhangs a bit, which is quite normal, but it kind of got a lot of mildewy crap there and mold there, so not so great. The pressure there's too much pressure coming from the water boxes up there, and so the water gets all over the sink, which is quite normal here in Brazil. They don't think a lot about, they don't measure or calculate the pressure very well, and so you can see right here there's a lip, and everybody has squeegees in order to squeegee all the water that goes everywhere because the water pressure hasn't been calculated properly. No dishwasher. We didn't have a dishwasher, but there is a water input for the dishwasher, but there's no drain for the dishwasher. So you could in fact have a dishwasher, a countertop dishwasher, and the water input, but I don't know where you're going to drain it. So I don't know why they don't have a drain here. Also, when we rented the house, the entire house was closed, and the landlord had kept the house closed for a long period of time and not had a dehumidifier in this house. You can't do that if you want the house to last and not mold. Another reason why there might be mold in one of the rooms, and why we essentially didn't use one of the rooms. They call this a 3-bedroom house, and of course that means there's no office. There's just like the dining, living, and kitchen area, and then every other room is a bedroom. We turned one of the rooms into the office. One of the rooms we didn't use. Elizabeth used to store her clothes, but then her clothes got a little bit moldy, and we eventually quickly bought a dehumidifier and just had the dehumidifier running all the time. When you close a house up like this and you don't have a dehumidifier going, you get humidity buildup in this type of house, which begins wrecking the cabinetry, which has wrecked all of these, right? All this stuff, all throughout the entire house is entirely wrecked with mold and just completely falling apart. That backboard there, and so nice backboard here. The window's kind of like falling out. You can see right here it's separating. Again, the house is a bit older. I don't really like this cabinetry. Not so great. One of the worst things about, so you can see the lip. Yeah. The lip, and so this was placed on top of this. One of the worst things about this house, why we began using the outdoor barbecue, is because there's no extractor fan. A lot of the extractor fans extract into the house. This doesn't have an extractor fan, so I began developing breathing problems living in this house. So we were cooking here with a lot of meat, a lot of fat, and a lot of the fat particles were going into the atmosphere, and I was developing breathing problems. Which isn't good with the heart condition that I discovered. So not so great, no extractor fan. It's totally not at code, totally unsafe. What can you do? Storage all over. This kind of awkward storage right here. Kind of the storage goes back into there. The cabinetry could have been designed a little bit more efficiently, but we really like this kitchen. Beautiful open kitchen like this. And so beautiful kitchen. Another sort of one of my experiences here is I biohack or try different techniques and technologies for optimizing my human performance. So human performance optimization. One of the I do different things. Sometimes I chew nicotine gum, like 2 milligram. I don't do 4 milligram anymore. I once did 4 milligram and was drinking coffee, and the 4 milligrams extracted really rapidly, and I was kind of sick after that. You need to be really careful. I had a relative who heard that nicotine was great for long haul COVID, and so they bought I think it was 6 milligram nicotine gum. And that would have been dangerous for them. Imagine not knowing anything about nicotine gum and chewing for 15 minutes a chiclet of 6 milligram nicotine gum. I think they would have died. So you have to be careful. So I've been using methylene blue, and again, you have to be careful with all these chemicals. And the original type of methylene blue that I had been buying was low milligram because it was mixed with some CBD and some other things. And then I just bought pure methylene blue. And so a troche of pure methylene blue. And I took a part of the troche, and I had it was too much methylene blue, and I had a reaction to it. And so I felt like pins and needles, like someone was stabbing needles into me all over my body. It can be a bit of methylene blue can be a bit of a senolytic. Senolytic is you have senescent cells, like cells in your body that basically are no longer signaling correctly, and your body gets rid of them. Just naturally, as you age, they build up. Fasting is one senolytic method to get rid of some of these senolytic cells. And you can also, there are also chemical compounds. There are also some plants you can take as senolytics that kind of flush these senescent cells out of your body. Well, I wasn't doing it for that. I was doing it for the cognitive boost that you get. But I took too much, and so, you need to be careful. And a lot of the people who advertise these products, who advertise who promote, influencers, I guess who I'm talking about, influencers on social media who promote these products and promote doing these things like ice baths and, using methylene blue. They often don't talk about the dangers. If you ever feel your heart fluttering while you're in an ice bath, get out immediately and warm yourself. And that was the first sign for me, the danger sign in the ice bath. I felt my heart fluttering. And then came the cramp. And I had never felt that before. So, and also, the other thing was I typically never use stimulants when I have an ice bath. Never. In the past, I had never used stimulants. And I had been working a lot the past year. And then I began doing ice baths on the same day that I had had coffee. So like 3-4 cups of coffee, like work for a little bit, and then have an ice bath. And normally I didn't do that. And I'll never do that again. I'll never have an ice bath on the same day that I'm using like too much coffee. I know some people do, like a cup of coffee, and they have no problem. About 3% of the population, 1 to 3% of the population has the mitral valve prolapse that I have. So that's a warning sign. If you're ever doing something extreme and you're feeling like a fluttering in your heart, stop. And that's what I'll do. And so that's why I have the pack. Anyway, so methylene blue, another substance you have to be careful of. Nicotine gum, have to be careful of. Have to know the milligram, have to be careful of the amount you chew it, and also have to be careful with what you're drinking, because it was only 4 milligrams. 4 milligrams I was typically fine with, but I was drinking warm coffee hot coffee at the same time, and so I extracted the nicotine very quickly out of the nicotine gum. Done a lot of crazy things this life. So that's just some of them. So we have some lights here in the kitchen. Don't like these lights. We never switched out these lights. Some of them don't work. Some of them never worked. But these bright white lights don't like at night. So instead we had red light panels. We put one red light panel here facing upward, and we put another red light panel over here facing that direction. So if this is the red light, it was facing that direction. And this is how podcasters and people on YouTube make their videos look really good. They put lights behind them, and they have the lights typically facing the wall. Wow, these lights don't make me look. Okay, so we don't use this at night. In the daytime, we sometimes use these, but not much. Again, a lot of light coming in from the front here, and so not a lot of insulation here, but also no filter on these windows, and that was fantastic for us. I don't like filters on windows because it blocks out a lot of the light. I know people use filters on windows if they have like objects of art or valuable objects, or even furniture that they don't want bleached in their home. But then you're not getting the benefit of the light, and I feel the light is way more benefit than the objects in my home. So yeah, we don't have a lot of objects of art. In fact, like that vase up there isn't ours. That was with the house. So the furniture arrangement, we arranged the furniture like this. Again, another thing about this house is it would have been nice if there was an electrical outlet kind of in the center, in the floor, because I worked right here and I had to drape the electrical cables all the way over there. There's also no electrical outlet here, so I just couldn't have it go underneath the floor and then just put a conduit, like one of those conduits that cover, well, not a conduit, like a cover of a floor cover for an electrical cable on the floor. I've lived in houses where you drape where you run electrical cables along the floor, like in offices, and then you have this cover so you don't trip over it, and you can walk over the electrical cable. Anyway, that would have been nice if they had an electrical outlet right here, but there's no electrical outlet right there, so I had to drape it all the way over there. Furniture, I really don't like this couch. First of all, this couch was moldy because this isn't our couch. None of this furniture is ours. This couch, when we first came into the house, was moldy because the landlord had left all the doors closed and had no dehumidifier running. He needs to buy a dehumidifier to dehumidify the house. Of course, that's going to cost a little bit more in electricity, but then you're not going to get moldy furniture, and you'll preserve all the furniture in the house and the cabinetry as well. So I don't like this couch. This couch is super annoying. These type of couches are quite popular nowadays. And so you sit on the couch, and the couch comes out. I don't know if you can see that, but the couch just extends out, and there's no way to lock it. So as you're sitting, you're kind of like, fine if you're relaxing, but I don't really sit on the couch very often. Again, I'm not much of a TV watcher. So we never had a television here. Instead, we had a whiteboard. We use the whiteboard more than we do the television, and another whiteboard that we put right here. So we had two whiteboards in the house that we used. It's always nice having a mirror. Really opens up the space. So on that side, you have a window. On this side, you have a mirror. Excellent. I don't really like this mirror, how it's broken up. I think it would have been nice to just have a nice, larger mirror. But mirrors always open up the space, make them more light, bright. People feel happier in that sort of environment. So don't like this couch. What else? Oh, these doors. You have to be so careful with contractors. So when we had guests over, we rarely did this, but it's so easy to walk. We never had a bird strike on these doors. I think it might be because typically because the shape of the house, how the roof covering comes like this, and then we have a railing here, and then we have this. So we never had birds come and strike this at all. But sometimes we had people walk into them. So we did have someone walk into this door when a guest closed the door. I don't know why they closed the door, but they closed the door while other guests were here. And then one of our other guests walked into the door and broke it. And we had a contractor come. We had somebody come, and as we were planning on buying the house, and said, "This is also something we need fixed." And I was saying to him, "It's broken up here," and he's like, "Oh no, it's just down here. You just need just that fuzzy stuff that basically the door kind of just slides on. That's what's broken." And I kept saying, "No, that's what's broken." And he kept saying, "No, don't worry. I know. I'm a contractor. That's what's broken." Well, of course, then we got someone in who actually knows about windows when we didn't buy it because we needed to fix it anyway because we broke it. And that's what was broken. Just be very careful with these people. They come over telling you they know things, and some people just believe them and, get screwed in the end. So we have fiber optics in this house. A lot of houses don't have fiber optics. We're very fortunate, the neighborhood we're living in, that we have a forest close by. And I didn't mention that. We do have to close the windows because there are people who burn trash here, and one of our neighbors burns trash. Burns his vegetation more often, but also burns trash. And when the wind is blowing, the trash smell comes this direction. So every so often we do have to close that. They don't burn trash all around Brazil. I've talked to a lot of Brazilians, and in some areas of Brazil, no trash is burned. In other areas of Brazil, they burn a lot of trash. Around here, they burn a lot of trash. Even near the dump close by, I see people burning trash. Right around our street, as you're going out to the main street, there was a dump that they've since filled in with dirt, so people can't dump their trash there. But a lot of people were dumping their trash there, and then somebody would come by and light it on fire, thinking, we'll just light it on fire, burn it to ash, and then we can dump more trash there. So that doesn't happen all around Brazil. That's just in specific areas, and tends to be more common in this area and going slightly west of here. So I don't know what it is. Obviously, it has a little bit to do with the culture. Obviously, a little bit to do with the municipality not picking up trash, not collecting trash, and not dealing with it appropriately. So a combination of things. This door has that problem that I was describing with the gate, but in this way, it's slightly different. in this way, you can see that the screws go in there. And so anyway, it's tilting. It's tilting, and so we have to lift the door up every time we want to open and close it. Now, it would have been nice. So here, this was meant for television. When we first moved in, the couch was right here facing the television, or facing where the television would go. Quite like the furniture. The landlord here purchased some good quality furniture, some excellent quality furniture. Another thing about furniture, you have to be careful about chairs like this, especially white chairs. Even car seats you have to be careful of. They stain very easily, water stain very easily. So once we had family members over and everybody had their bathing suit on and everybody came and sat in these seats, and of course water stained all the seats. And so we had, then don't touch them, just have an expert come in and clean them. And the expert came in, used a little bit of chemicals and his cleaning solution and his cleaning device, and totally cleaned everything, made them look good again. So the electrical outlets here are all one electrical outlet, all one. So it would have been nice if there were two. And so we've had to use splitters and extenders everywhere, which we don't have them right now. But everywhere you saw, and there's our robot. This house is not grounded, and how do I know this house is not grounded? So I know this house is not grounded because of Elizabeth's laptop. My laptop is plastic. You can see right here, it's plastic. Elizabeth's laptop in this area is metal. And you can always tell when a house isn't grounded, and this is dangerous for many reasons, because if you rub your hand gently on the metal part, you'll feel a vibration. Or if somebody's touching the metal and then you touch them gently, you'll feel a little bit of a vibration. And that means that they're electrified. And so there's a larger electromagnetic field when things are not grounded. And then if you're touching that can actually disturb your heart. So every so often, this is why we use, this computer, it's not so important, although you're still exposed to the EMR or EMF, electromagnetic radiation, electromagnetic field. But with Elizabeth's computer, it's more important to use a keyboard when it's not grounded because it's metal and she's touching the metal. And so you can begin having feeling pain in your heart, maybe having more heart palpitations if you're touching that for a longer period of time. If you then put that laptop on a table and the table is metal or the table has metal inside of it, you're then electrifying the table as well, and then that's even extending out the electromagnetic field. So we've done that before, and then I've even been kind of feeling a bit of heart soreness, or it's a strange feeling. It's like a dull aching in your heart from the electromagnetic field because there isn't ground. So yeah, this house is not grounded, and what can you do? If we had moved in, we would have grounded the house. So if we had bought it. That's our robot, it's a Eufy. We bought it in the United States because technology is significantly cheaper in the United States. So we bought it in the United States and brought it here. And it has been a godsend. I mean, I can't imagine living in a place like this and not having a robot. So, we have no carpet here. I know a lot of homes have carpet. I guess this could do carpet. I don't like having carpet in my home anyway. And so I guess it could go over some carpets, but really homes should be designed in the future to accommodate for these sorts of vacuum cleaners. It's just been absolutely amazing. Let's see, what else? So I'll take you in the bedrooms. This is kind of a long video, and then I'll talk about Auravana. So this is the first bedroom. This is the bedroom we slept in. No mold in this bedroom. Again, the cabinetry is fantastic. So he spent a lot of money on the cabinetry and the beds. The beds have been really good. This is a queen size bed. Again, a lot of people watch TV. A lot of people fall asleep to the television. I don't think that's a sensible thing to do, especially over time. At first, you have a television in your bedroom and you say, I'm not going to fall asleep to the television. And then eventually you start falling asleep to the television and it's interfering with your sleep and just not great all around. So anyway, the electrical cable would have gone through here, and then you would have pulled the drawer out and dropped the electrical cable, and it would have gone in the electrical socket down there. Now that's fine unless you want to charge things at night, and now you can't get to the electrical socket. So there's no other way. It's literally sealed in this piece of furniture. So there's no other way to get to the electrical socket. It's nice that they had this. It's beautiful. We never used it because it's a white light. Again, we only use red lights at night. And so it's nice having these side tables at the bed and the headboard. Typically, I don't like having cloth headboards, but this was no problem. This didn't really get dusty, and I could vacuum it every so often just to get off the dust. It's annoying living next door to people with bright lights that shine toward your bedroom, and so that's what our neighbors here have. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see it right there. That kind of like spotlight. Can you see it there? Yeah. So we close the blinds, but still some light comes in. Kind of annoying. Also, the street lamp. We didn't really close the blinds there because we do have privacy anyway, but the street light shines light into this area. And then also our next door neighbor has a light up there on their roof, and that's shining into our room. So then I closed that blind. I didn't close that blind typically because it's just an annoyance, and I didn't want to do that. So a small storage area here. Nice to have a small storage area. There's a phone here. This is an intercom. It doesn't function because there's no actual intercom at the front gate. We got a doorbell from Amazon in the United States. Hi, Elizabeth. You want to say hi?
Yeah. Hi there. Yeah. I hope you're having a good time in having a trip in our home. I really like this home.
Yeah, us too. We like living here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
You know, maybe we'll be back. Maybe we won't. We don't know.
Yeah,
But-
we don't know.
Yeah.
So just so you know, you can show the room.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she was good. We're packing up. She was
Yeah.
packing her things up. Thank you. So this is the bathroom. I preferred this bathroom simply because I thought this bathroom was less sterile in its aesthetic, and so I like this bathroom quite a bit. Faux wood floor, and wherever you are is nice because the robot. This is not too much of a dip. That the robot's not going to recognize this, because the robot does recognize significant changes in elevation, so it won't fall off a platform. Not all robots do. Our robot, I think we only paid for this Eufy twin turbine technology. I think we paid $250 US. Not a big robot, but oh my word, I can't tell you how amazing it's been. We just set it on and it cleans the entire place. Anyway, so nice bathroom. These sinks are usually they are usually extended out more this way, and the reason they're usually extended out more this way is that it gives you a little bit more space behind here because it's very difficult to clean behind there. But the second thing is under the sink, every so often this tap comes loose, and it's totally impossible to. Can you see that? It's essentially impossible, or almost impossible, to get there with your hand or with any sort of tool and tighten it, you know? So that's been very difficult. When it comes loose, it's just a super annoyance, and I leave it for a little bit, and then I tighten it, but it's very difficult to get it tight. I mean, they kind of had to install it this way because of the way it's designed, but typically it's installed so that the sink's a little bit further out. Of course, that, you know, then you're more likely to bang into it. So then the second thing I really dislike about this sink is there's not a sufficient inclination. So when particles come out of your teeth, you then kind of have to sweep them in with your hand into the drain. And also frequently this fills up with water. So I have to loosen it. The one thing I do like about this drain is that it's easy to take this on and off. And then I have to, you know, unscrew this in order to get the water out quickly if I want to leave the sink quickly. Leave the bathroom quickly. So it's just, I wish there was more of an inclination. Aside from this, I like it. No hot water at this sink. Our shower, again, we do have hot water. Nice shower head. Sometimes they calcify a little bit, and with these it's really easy when you don't have water coming out of some of these. You just run your finger over it, and the calcium deposit or whatever minerals deposited there comes out pretty quickly. So the other great thing about this shower is that the registers are in the shower. So they put registers all over the place here, and I really like how they make them always visible. So here are the tap registers for the shower, and then there's the safety registers for the shower. So we could quickly turn off the water if we ever needed to, if these registers broke and water began leaking. We only really ever used the hot water except on hot days when we would just use a little bit of the cold. Again, nice place to put you know, your bathroom supplies. Squeegee we really never used. This squeegee is too small. This is a sink squeegee. If you want a squeegee for the shower, then you need a larger squeegee. Again, no air conditioning in this house. Oh, that's the other thing I'll show you in our bedroom. It would have been nice to have a fan in the ceiling in our bedroom. That would have been very good. There are no fans in this house, and this house should have fans in all of the main rooms in order to keep it cool, both during the day and in the evening. So to close this window, we pull that and the window closes, and then to open it, we typically just left this open all the time. We've only once had a dangerous spider come in the house. They do have scorpions, snakes, spiders here. Only once had a dangerous spider come in the house. Luckily, neither of us stepped on it. It was later at night, and I was walking to get a glass of water after meditating for a little bit. And yeah, just luckily it wasn't on the floor, it was on the wall. So we had a desk here, and this is where Elizabeth worked, and we had the computer that we created Aura City on. Yeah, there would have been, as I was saying, it would have been nice to put a fan in this room. Again, they have the light in there, but it would have been nice to have a fan in this room. Possibly even this room too. It would have been nice to have a fan right there. You know, just for this type of house, fans would have been good. So this is the more sterile. I really don't know why they chose this tile aesthetic. Not so bad, this one. Not so dark as the one in the kitchen, but not a very nice tile aesthetic. And it's super annoying to put these in, these tiny tiles. I mean, obviously they come in sheets, and so they're just putting in the sheets of tiles, not individual tiles. But anyway, drain. And this shower, I don't know where the registers are. So as I was saying, registers everywhere, but this bathroom not. Oh, there are the registers. So yeah, I didn't really use this bathroom as much. I felt it was more sterile. I liked the faux wood floor in the other bathroom. Elizabeth did use this bathroom more. Same sink, and again hose, and you turn this to turn it on. Some people use this, some people use toilet paper, you know. And so we had the proper towel racks. It would have been nice to have 2 of these towel racks instead of just one. So each has 1 towel rack and 1 hand rack. And when Elizabeth and I take showers, you know, in this bathroom, it would have been nice to have 2 towel racks instead of 1. Oh, and you can see in this bathroom there are 2 lights, and we switched these lights out for amber lights. These are nice amber lights. Red lights would have been better, but we have amber lights, and then you have the fluorescent light there. So I'll show you how they do most of the electrical outlets here in Brazil. So this is the electrical outlet, and in a lot of countries they're screwed in. This one's kind of broken over time. It was broken when we first got here, and it's no better off now. But they pull out, so they clip on. Can you see that? You can see can you see the clip right there? So this part right here clips onto there, and that is actually what's screwed in. And then this clips on. So it's different in other countries where this is actually the outer part here is actually screwed in instead of the screw being the clip and then this clipping on. So, you know, and this is more likely to damage. And there's, I don't know, can you see the little opening right there? So right there. So there you're meant to put a screwdriver in, and then, you know, you push the screw, you use the screwdriver as a lever, and it pops the clip out. Now, that's okay in some respects, but every time you do that, you're likely to damage the wall. So I think the screw one is a more sensible way of doing it than this clip one. potentially damaging the wall and then using force and then having the whole thing potentially pop out because it wasn't screwed in properly. So just a different way of doing it. Yeah, I prefer the other way. And you can see here, same with these lights. So you're meant to put, can you see that? You're meant to put a screwdriver in here and you pop it out. I mean, that's actually the way most lights are done anyway. But not the way all of the electrical outlets are. So this room is not terribly moldy, has a drop ceiling. This is the room that out there is the roof that they put over the car area. And you know, this room would have had a lot more light before they put that roof. So now they put that roof, this room's pretty dark during the day. The lux in this room is very low. And so it would have been nice to then open up this wall and have a window here. Or even sliding glass door. I don't know, that would have been more expensive, but that would have provided a lot more light to this room. This was initially one of the bedrooms and we turned it into an office. And Elizabeth used this as an office. We had an exercise bike in here. We had an oxygen concentrator because I do exercise with oxygen sometimes. Sometimes contrast exercise with oxygen, but I never got that set up because on the oxygen machine you have to use the out port, the low O2 out port, and I just never got around to that. So just exercise with oxygen, but there's also contrast exercise with oxygen where you breathe high oxygen for a period of time, and then you breathe low oxygen until your O2 saturation gets to about 80 milligrams per deciliter, I think the measurement is. And then after it's at 80 mg, you do a high intensity, and you first turn it to high O2, and then you do high intensity sprinting for a little bit. So again, nice furniture. Again, this was where the bed would have been. Very nice furniture here. And yeah, I don't have anything bad to say, except it would have been nice to have a window and a fan right there. We're coming to the conclusion because this is the last room. So this is the moldy room. Drop ceiling. I put the camera up there once to check out, to find out where the mold was coming, and I can't figure out where the mold is coming from. But this room is continuously moldy. I think there was a leak in this room before because the drain doesn't work. The drain in this is a suite, so it has its own bathroom. I think the drain got clogged and somebody was running the shower, and there's mold somewhere. I don't know if it's underneath the floor. Put the camera up there in the drop roof, and it is filthy up there. It is just absolutely filthy. If we had bought this house, we would have had to taken down. I mean, there's so much work to have done in this house. He just, you know, he needed to drop the price and didn't drop the price. So anyway, we're moving on with our lives. But yeah, great furniture. This is falling apart, as you can see right here. Could become slightly dangerous in the future, and this becomes more likely in rooms with water damage. I don't know how water damage this room was, but typically when there's mold in a room, I can detect it now. This is actually where we kept the dehumidifier. During the day, we would open up this window, and it's so nice having the roof out there because it's cooler in the back and warmer in the front. So you have nice airflow throughout the day, which is terrible for when they're burning plastic because then you just get the plastic smell. But when they're not burning plastic and they're not burning vegetation, you have a nice breeze throughout the entire house. I swear to God, this is so nice. Nice breeze throughout the entire house by opening this. And then we still ran the dehumidifier. And then at night, of course, the dehumidifier was running all the time. And the drain, we connected it to the dehumidifier to a hose. And we had the hose run to the shower where the drain is. Again, the drain's kind of blocked, but it was running to the shower. And then there's an opening to the air. No extractor fans in these bathrooms, but we never really needed it. If you were running an air conditioning unit in the house, obviously you would seal those and then you'd have an extractor fan for the bathrooms. This bathroom, I more like the tile. We both would have preferred to sleep in this bedroom if there wasn't mold in this bedroom. Sometimes you can't detect the mold. You really have to, sometimes you can't detect the water leaks either. You have to run an Hermes test or use a thermal imaging camera. Thermal imaging camera will detect water leaks oftentimes. If you're ever moving into a new home, always use a thermal imaging camera to detect the water leaks. And then if you're moving into a previously occupied home, you might want to do an Hermes test. Environmental relative mold score, I think is what it, or environmental relative mold, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, run an Hermes mold test in your house. I'm sure if we did it in this room, it would have come back high. Elizabeth kept her clothes in here, and so we actually had 2 dehumidifiers running. We had a big dehumidifier, which is like this high off the ground with a hose that ran there. And then she also had another dehumidifier, a tinier dehumidifier that she had to empty the water of. Smaller, like, you know, about this high. And every so often she would have to pull out the water collection unit and dispose of the water in the sink. And so she just ran it in here. And when it wasn't running in here before we bought it, her clothes became much more mildewy. She has a lot more clothes than I do. I'm more of a minimalist. That's the way I choose to live my life. I don't have many clothes. She doesn't have many clothes either, but she has a few more clothes. So she needed more cabinetry space for her clothes. And, then we ran the dehumidifier inside the cabinet. So let's see, I think we're about done. Show you the furniture here. So there's the bed, and this is a nice kind of like, I don't know, area to store things and put things. She had some of her, the architecture that she'd working on and she put there. And so this is the bathroom. We never changed the light in here. That's a bright white light. Same sink, same difficult sink to get to. So now I guess I'll talk about Auravana because we're done with the house and it's been a long time. And if you stuck around this long, so the past year we've been doing multiple things. As you probably know, the website has been updated recently. So we have a new version of the website. We have over 2,175 concept models, and you can go onto the figures, we call them figures now, you can go onto the figures page, and you can either browse all of the figures as the order that they've been uploaded to the website, or you can go to the search box, of which there are 2 ways to search. There's one that gives you a list view, and there's one that gives you a grid view. And if you want the alphabetical, if you want the list results in alphabetical order, just type in model dash and then the societal system standard that you're specifically interested in. Every model, every figure, aka starts with the word model dash and then the name of the standard that figure appears in. So if you're looking for the alphabetical order list of social system models, it would be model dash social, and that would list everything in alphabetical order, or model dash decision, or model dash material, or model dash project, or model dash overview. And so we now have the Aura City web page up. We have more content on the Aura Curve page. We have the Revit file. We have the AutoCAD file, and we have the Lumion file for all 3 habitats, for both Aura Curve, Aura Crow, and Aura City. We have a hashtag data structure on the website. So if you go to the website and you look up hashtag data structure, the structure is slightly different. If you click sitemap on where the breadcrumb is up at the top, just under top navigation, it'll take you down to the bottom of the page where you can see the site navigation, the sitemap for the site. We haven't released a newsletter because, I don't want to bother people until we have the next big release of everything together. So I know how annoying it can be receiving emails from projects or organizations when they're not super important. And so, I don't want to disturb people. So you can subscribe to our newsletter down at the bottom of the page. We won't send you spam, and we'll only send you an email when we have something big to release. Again, the website was a pretty big release. The Aura City was a pretty big release. The fact that we have 2,175 models. But I'm kind of waiting till we have everything together, including the next version of the standards, which have been worked on for over a year. So the current version of the standards on the website are very different, I would say, from the working version that we presently have. The data structure is slightly different. A lot of the articles have been updated. There are more articles, and the citation is now at a professional level. It's now at APA seventh generation citation format. So I was unhappy with the citation before, but when you're designing something, sometimes citation gets left in the background. So it's now been brought to the foreground and it's been resolved, and so citation is up to standards. And I don't know about this version. It's either this version or the next version we want to get into universities. I'm thinking not the next version, this version that we're just about to release. I'm thinking it's going to be the next version, which may be another year down the road, and then we'll try to get it into universities and begin creating courses. We've had several people show interest in the courses, but I want the documentation to be up to standard, up to university standard before we do that. And with citation, we now have the citations, the in-text citations. We state that they're reference in-text, and we also have citations for like future working group members to look into. So we've separated those. So if it's cited in the text, we have a statement saying that it's, these citations are cited in the text, and then we have other citations for either future literature reviews or for future working groups looking into that material for further development of the article in the future. So we've done it that way. Both are APA 7th generation. So let's see. A lot of new articles, a lot of new content. I just have to finish off 2 more sections, and then we're going to publish. So I'm currently working, and the reason why I don't think we want to get into we could if somebody wants to help us out with this. We could begin developing a course, but they would have to begin doing the work to develop the course. Because I'm still working on the standards, because I want to get the entire legal structure done, and that is not done yet. We do have way more legal content, legalese content, and a design of the legal system, a framework for the legal system, I would say, but we don't have the legal system complete yet. And so that won't be complete till the next version, but we do have more content in concern to the legal system in this version. It's just not as complete. We have a section on nutrition, a lot of new and interesting sections. So the next version of the system overview, we're going to have the habitat brochures be at the end. It's going to take just a little bit longer to release because we've decided to rework the system overview. So we are taking our habitats and we're adding the 3 habitats that we've currently designed to the end of the system overview. So we've taken out that content that was kind of earlier on in the system overview, and we've put it at the end after all of those concept models in the system overview. So the system overview is going to be a little bit thicker, but then we have some brochures depicting community type habitats, or habitats in a community type society. So I think that's about it. Elizabeth, do you want to say goodbye to everyone? This video has been 1 hour and 16 minutes.
Yes.
So I think one of my longer videos, if you stuck through it, hope you learned something. I enjoy making it. I kind of do this for you and for me because I love seeing the places that we've been, and I don't know, I learn through these videos as well. I wish I made more of them, but that's the way things go. So.
Okay.
All right. Yep. Night.
Yeah,
Ciao.
See you next.
See you next time. Bye.